Men have to step up.
Absolutely.
One of the
absolutely.
And it's in every culture, but it's very pronounced in Islamic culture. Men always talk about how important women are and how sacred they are, and this is the time to stand up. It's a secular issue because democracy and freedom doesn't have to be a function of faith. But one of the things that I'm trying to figure out in terms of how to connect to U.S. interests, I keep hearing from people, hey, if America wants to help, rethink the sanctions, because the sanctions that America puts in place and others put in place wind up hurting the protesters more than the people in power. Is that true? And if so, what is the fix?
I'll answer that question real quick, but let me back up and add to something you said, which is women and their male allies. If my beloved Dodgers or my beloved Rams tomorrow decided not to allow African Americans, women, Italian Americans, or Jews into their games, what do you think would happen, Chris? None of us would go to that game. We'll all boycott my beloved Dodgers and Rams. When women are not allowed in stadiums and there's such discrimination, I think even men should step up their games and say, you know what? Soccer isn't worth it. We're not going to go to the games. We're not going to go to stadiums. We're not going to go watch wrestling matches as long as our sisters, mothers, daughters, and our aunts and our wives and our girls, are not allowed to participate in the same activities as us. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Now, again, somebody would say, oh boy, there was this, segregation 70, 50, 60 years ago. Yes, I get that. But we live in 2022 now. If tomorrow, if somebody did that here in LA or in New York or in Chicago, the reaction would be very different from society as a whole. That's one thing. Going forward, talking about sanctions, you have certain tools with which you can punish a rogue regime. You would try to bring them to the negotiating table. President Obama did that, tried very hard, sanctioned the regime and brought them to the negotiating table in 2015, got a nuclear deal. Trump got out of it, but again, it added more, sanctions to that. But again, sanctions is it's a double-edged sword. Part of it is for punishing a rogue regime, but the other part is to create a reverse incentive for them to come to the negotiating table. Now, you have a regime called the Islamic Republic of Iran that is born, and it's created based on anti-Americanism and anti-Israeli sentiments. It's a fundamentalist regime that spews to spread fundamentalist version of its fundamentalist version and reading of Islam, but on top of that, support what it calls resistance movements in the region, which is sort of a revolutionary rhetoric. So when we talk about sanctions, that's pretty much short of military strikes, because they're not going to deal. They don't play ball. And clearly, military options should be the absolute last resort. What do you have in between? In the middle, you don't have a whole lot of options. So you have to make it tougher on the regime. And of course, some people are going to get hurt. And of course, some middle class and some, the people in the lower class are going to hurt. But again, we have to make it much tougher for the regime to have access to financial means, to weapons, to tools, restricted travels. But a lot of good, targeted sanctions are doable, what we can do, which we haven't done yet. And again, there are options there. It's not the end of the world. But again, I applaud President Biden and this administration for having changed their track and their course from direct or indirect negotiations on the nuclear deal that was not going anywhere, unfortunately, to, as long as the Iranian regime is killing people on the streets, we're going to stand up and we're going to help the Iranian people. And that's a good thing.
It would be huge for America if you could get any kind of secular regime in there. Obviously, the nuclear capabilities, but the fact that Iran, through its diseased sense of religiosity, is a constant malefactor everywhere in the region that it can be. Everybody knows that. Even in Ukraine right now, Iran has been helping the Russians. So, Ari, my job is to keep this in front of people. And I will call on you, and I am always a call away. When there's something that has to come out, something that's being missed, you've got me, okay? And the show is committed to staying on this because it's the cause of freedom.
Thank you, Chris, and it's always great to be with you.
All right. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.